Hello and welcome to Reacting with Tato. So I actually came across the subject of today's video, Elfinpsyop. It was some months ago, and my initial thought, and the thought I still remain to have, is what a peculiar creature. So she is 20-something. Well, actually, no, she actually lied about her age, so she's 20 now. But what we have here today is a 1 hour 20-minute video by Mujin, a wonderful creator. I'll have the video linked in the description below, telling her story. I think, well, I don't know much about her, but I think Mujin has done his research. He really does really good research. So, without further ado, let's see.
Ian Miles Chung is a, let's say, political commentator that truly got in the spotlight in the run-up to the 2024 US presidential election. You see, Ian would tweet daily. We're talking hundreds of tweets, all centered on the topic of this election. The guy was acting like his life was hanging in the balance if the wrong candidate ended up winning. In fact, he was so passionate about this topic that it even reached the owner of the website, Elon Musk, who retweeted and replied to his posts
I should know
constantly. Except, here's the thing. Ian wasn't even a United States citizen. He was Malaysian, and he lived in Malaysia. He didn't have a green card. Hell, he didn't even have a US
I have actually heard of this guy.
visa. In fact, most shocking in all this, the guy had never stepped foot on United States territory before. Not once in his life.
Okay.
And yet here he was, shamelessly quote tweeting things like multiculturalism will tear our country apart and saying, that's right, they need to get out of our country. Bro, what do you mean our? What? Or how about, I refuse to be governed by an Ugandan named Zohran Kwame Mamdani. Get out of my country. What do you mean your country? Excuse me. You see, the thing with Ian, if that's even his real name, is that he was the perfect example of a grifter. Someone who pretends to believe in something while not giving a shit about it, all to benefit directly from it, whether financially or by other means.
And he, or that the owner of that account, he or she or they or whatever, bought a checkmark.
And he sure as hell did. Not only does he have 1.2 million followers, he also lives in the United Arab Emirates, a country that's significantly more expensive than his home country of Malaysia. So why am I telling you all this? Well, it's simple. For as long as so many of us can remember, a grifter only took on a few different forms, whether it be a politician or someone extremely rich, people of power. It was a known fact that these people changed their politics based on the highest bidder that was filling their pockets. But today, we live in unprecedented times where about anyone can become a grifter and benefit directly from it. It's not a privilege reserved for the people in power.
You can make money out of shit.
Anyone can be a grifter, even if it was a severely alcoholic mess of a VTuber.
God damn. No, okay. I agree with that assessment. From what little I saw of her streams, she drinks a lot. I say as I'm sipping on some wine on a Sunday day, like, yeah, but still, yeah, she drinks more than I ever did.
See, from the first day that Elfinpsyop started streaming, she targeted a very specific demographic. Males who would typically share the same ideologies you'd find on 4chan, who love edgy humor, dislike minorities, and most importantly, never receive female attention.
Insults.
All she had to do was post slurs and insults directed towards minorities every day, all while acting as edgy as possible. And through this, she was able to attain over 100,000 followers in less than 2 years. But that's not all. She was also able to make close to 6 figures in those 2 years by building very unhealthy relationships with those viewers who get no female attention.
A true
like, for example, calling those viewers on Discord and starting to touch herself without them knowing as they were talking. And that's not even the worst thing she's done. I mean, she was literally posting audios of her gooning to her general chat in her Discord server, accessible by anyone, okay? But this, of course, had its massive benefits. Elfin was so successful in doing this. She was so unstoppable too, invincible to all sorts of criticisms, that you even had bigger and more viral VTubers try to emulate her, try to copy her. That's how dangerous her influence had become. But that would all be until December 2025, when demons from her past would catch up to her and expose to us all that she's actually one of those minorities that she insulted daily. It would turn out that she is Pakistani. This is where her entire life falls apart as her Sims try to grapple with the fact that she is a minority. But of course, it doesn't end here, because she might have committed a pretty serious crime that made her eventually want to delete all her socials to scrub the proof. And yes, it involved a minor. This is one of the more uniquely disturbing videos I've ever made. And word of warning, throughout all of it, you'll lose hope in humanity multiple times. So before we get started, I thought I'd get the good news out of the way first. I was able to achieve a very cool goal of mine, hiring my artist Weioang full time. Yes, the same artist who makes illustrations of me all the time and who also made my VTuber model.
Based
This is all thanks to your guys' support and, of course, Stacked. It's a creator platform that aims to rival other sites like Patreon.
Okay.
But instead of forcing you to sign up to paid memberships in order to take a more attractive percentage, they just take a flat 10%, nothing more, nothing less. And on the day of this video uploading, I'm launching my page with them. There are multiple tiers on my page, all made to give you the most value out of your money. They include 4 high-quality illustrations from Weio every month, as well as 2 exclusive rambling videos from me where I just yap. So if you have insomnia, I think this is perfect for you. I'll be very active there.
I can't afford that
the links
right
will be
now,
in the
but
description and the pinned comment. And now that the good news is finally out of the way, let's get to the bad news.
Website might literally crash.
Story of Elfinpsyop. Let's do this. Alright, so first off, what is a girl failure? This is something that Elfinpsyop would identify as for the entirety of her career. It's also one of the main reasons she was able to gain so much influence in such a short time. Well, if you Google this term, you'll get a definition saying a fictional girl or woman who is endearingly pathetic or inept. And while yes, this is true to some degree, it barely touches on the whole story. In fact, if I had to explain what a girl failure meant, then I would say it's nothing more than a modern and extremely bastardized version of a damsel in distress.
Is it
yes,
though?
The idea of a woman that finds herself in such a desperate and
I'm not sure if I agree with that assessment. Your failure goes like, well, my concept of this, it goes like to quite a few other spheres. But well, let's see what Mujin says about it.
Helpless situation and can only ever hope to get out of it thanks to the help of a man, preferably a white knight in shining armor.
Well, that part is
he would
correct.
save her, and they would live their life happily ever after, with the man taking full credit for the woman's happiness. At its essence, this is exactly what the term girl failure means. A woman who is such a loser, someone who can't take care of themselves, that's just waiting on a man that can fix her. But when it came to Elfin, she wasn't just a girl failure, she also
Chat, you can't fix her.
happened to be someone who was very mentally ill and severely alcoholic. But don't take my word for it. This is how she would introduce herself to people who would find her account on Twitter. Hello, new people. I'm Elfin. I'm a loser. In parentheses, girl failure. Whatever. Stinky elf federal agent. I love bugs, and I've got bruises. I'm a very messy person, tired, and a massive alcoholic. My interests are conspiracy theories, astronomy, military history, and coding.
To be fair, she knew her shit about military history. That can't be said.
I'm also extremely edgy, so you might see me post retarded rants while drunk. Wow, what a flattering introduction. I can totally see how she needs a white knight to save her from her predicament. But other than her making alcohol her entire personality and being a very clear example of what a pick-me girl is, you'd probably never guess that this person started streaming in February of 2024 and by mid-2025 had over 100,000 followers. So how the hell did she manage to become so big in such a short amount of time while having an extremely loyal community that would practically die for her? Well, it involved a multitude of different factors. One of the first factors is that she was edgy, like extremely edgy. It's as if she was competing for the edgy Olympics and wanted first place. Like this right here was a tweet of someone saying they went to the mental hospital and the nurse laughed at them for attempting to leave this planet, right? What does Elfin do? She would quote tweet this and say, "Can I just say you deserve it if you fail at it? Like it ain't fucking hard to kill yourself, I'm sorry." How about this tweet? Some black people shouldn't have rights. Or this one, where she says, "So I became a Nazi, yeah bitch, I'm the villain," showing a German pistol. She tried way too hard, and for the average person, this was extremely cringy. Like in this massive tweet with multiple paragraphs, she's basically saying, oh, you're saying the N-word hard R, you think it makes you based? Edgy cool? Say actual vile shit. I want more edginess. Like imagine lacking so much self-awareness that you think this is actually cool. This was as far back as November 2024.
That's 4chan for you.
Look, it would have normally been ignored. She's not the first one to be this edgy on Twitter. Normally, right? Someone like Elfin would have never gained more than 10,000 followers. I would have never had to make a video about her to begin with. So what was really one of the main factors that put her on the map? What changed everything for her and her entire career? Well, her belly. That's right. And I wish I was making this up. I'm talking about her belly. Her stomach, her abdomen. She would periodically post pictures of it on Twitter, and she would gain tens of thousands of likes. Like for example, I remember this one because I saw it on my feed. It had the caption of whatever, enjoy, and it was literally just her abdomen. Here's the high res. I mean, it's nothing special, right? So why did this post in particular gain 15,000 likes? Well, because she's a VTuber. I wish I was kidding. At this point, one could call this a kink, and the Twitter algorithm rewards it heavily. Like recently, I saw a picture of cleavage on my feed. It had over 20,000 likes. I was like, what makes this cleavage so fucking interesting? I went to that person's profile and I saw they had 200 followers, but get this, they had a VTuber profile picture. That's right. The appeal that someone who is anonymous, that is too shy to show their face, is sharing skin. Elfin loved the attention this brought.
I mean, Elfin literally did like IRL streams though. Well, whatever. I believe Mujin is gonna get into it.
Her. So as I said, she would post this periodically, and every time she would gain so much attention on her profile. It's insane. But it doesn't simply end here. After the horny guys would follow her because she has a nice looking belly, they'd start seeing her other tweets, her girl failure tweets, where she would say things like, I'm 20, I've never had a boyfriend, I'm a virgin, I've never kissed, fucked, or anything before. I hate myself so much, this is such a terrible situation. Look at this post, for example. Legit just gooned and it looked exactly like this. I'm fucking literally her. I stink right now. I'm gonna kill myself. I'm so upset. I wish I fucking had real life friends. I should be out hanging out at a bar right now. This post, posted on December 14th, 2024, would have over 2.9 million views and 85,000 likes, as well as 1,000 comments and 28,000 bookmarks.
Holy shit.
This is one of the most pathetic posts you can imagine, and there it is, going viral. She'd post something like this every single day. And it all goes back to the whole damsel in distress phenomenon that I was talking about earlier. She was a VTuber who only had...
You know what? I'm going to say that she has the damsel in distress shit, but I still disagree with girl failure being the same thing. Let's see.
Male interests. She was edgy, racist, and seen as based by some people, and she had a nice looking belly, which makes people's imaginations run wild. They think if it looks that good, then her face must look amazing too, the rest of her body as well. But the cherry on top is that even though she's all these things, she also happens to be a girl failure. She's someone who hates her life. She has no friends, she lives alone in the UK as a student, and the cherry on top was that she was a virgin, guys. She was pure.
Yeah, that would attract insults.
And she was just waiting for the right guy to fix her and wife her up. She understood this very well. But even though this was all a very elaborate plan to begin with, she still managed to take it to a very...
I'm not sure if she actually had a plan. She seemed like fucking out of control of her life.
Worrying next level, and that would be when you would take the next step to join her Discord. Her Discord is exactly what you would expect. Elfin would spend a worrying amount of time on there. She was practically chronically online, and anyone could pretty much talk to her. Most conversations revolved around two things. The first one being about racism, and the second one being about her being a massive gooner. Here you can see someone saying, Elfin's been mostly quiet on the server today because she's embarrassed about how hard she was horny posting while drunk last night. To which Elfin replies, we're not talking about that. A viewer would say, you gonna call her a good girl or is that just for you? Elfin would say, me. And an amazing example right here, someone saying, Elfin, do you choke yourself? And Elfin replying with, yeah. It was pretty much a server just to worship her and hope that she'll give you attention.
I did join the Discord for a brief time. I never talked to her personally, but there were some, let's say, interesting people in there that where especially in the voice chats. I love my voice chats. I joined Discord voice chat all the time. I joined a couple of those in her Discord, and yeah, I met individuals. I also met pretty cool people. I can't say that everyone there is like weird as fuck, but there were also weird as fuck people.
Additionally, you'd see her say obscene things that she couldn't even post on Twitter. Like, for example, if I had to fuck a dog, it'd be a husky. I genuinely don't know like what to say about that, dude. Like, I genuinely,
Okay.
I mean, I'm speechless, but I truly, I wish
I did not see that
things
conversation.
ended here. Elfin would take this parasocialism that she had built in her Discord server to a level that no other VTuber had ever taken it to, especially if they were the same size and influence. During her career, she would post over 11 different audios of her literally gooning with a vibrator. And get this, she wouldn't like post them in a private channel. with
I
her
never
top donors
listened
or
to any
whatever.
of
No,
those.
no. She would post it in general, in the channel that anyone who joins the server has access to. Now look, I'd love for you to listen to this.
I never saw or listened to any of those. I mean, I was born, but these ones, no, I never saw any.
This clip in particular because it is so ridiculous, but you can literally hear a vibrator in the background. Okay, so instead I'll reenact the first 10 seconds for you because it is one of the most bizarre things
Mujin,
I've
what
ever
are you
heard
doing?
in my entire life. And
Mujin, no.
she goes in the most like lolly voice possible. Then she says, if there's any Slavic guy out there that wants to marry me and kill N-words hard R, I want to murder all N-words hard
What
R. And I'm
the
telling
fuck?
you, during the whole thing, you can hear a vibrator going bzzz in the background. Like, bro, what are we doing here? Like, what is my life? What the
That cannot be
is
a
this?
planned thing.
That already tells you a lot
needs
about
to
who this
be
person
just
is, right? And of course, if you were to confront
mental
her
illness.
about this, she'd say, oh, I don't remember. I was drunk. I'm an alcoholic. It's my entire personality. And now you might be making the mistake of thinking, Mujin, all right, I get it. I get why she had so many followers and I get why she made so much money. And I mean, buddy, do you really think I was going to let you go that easily? No, because now the fun begins. What do you
What
do when you have an army of 100,000 military-aged men who willingly castrated their balls to worship you? Well, you start reaching deep into their pockets by suicide baiting. Tweets like this wouldn't be an uncommon find with Elfin, saying things like, genuinely want to kill myself, man. Or how about this post on her Discord saying, I just got charged like $1,800 about as tax. I'm literally exempt from paying that. Since she's a student in the UK, they just plainly took my money for my tuition and I have to pay rent soon, like a year's worth. I'm gonna actually fucking kill myself. She would then talk about how depressed she is and unmotivated and oh my god, I need to earn rent.
Yeah, that's just
Even though,
bait.
as you might guess, none of this was actually true. She'd keep this lie going on other platforms too, saying, I'm getting kicked out my apartment soon if I don't pay for a whole year up front. Time to find a new house or go homeless, I guess. Streaming from under a bridge. Fuck.
I think she did have to move houses, though. I'm not sure about that. Well, maybe we'll get to that.
She'd have 101 replies, all begging to help and wishing her the best and being worried about her. Poor Elfin. Now get this, she'd say, does anyone want to buy my blanket I used to hump every day for money? I need money for rent, thanks. Now look, most people, if they tweet something like this, they'd be laughed at. Maybe people will think, oh, they're just joking. As I had mentioned already, Elfin had an army of 100,000 men who castrated themselves just to worship her. So what do you think actually happened? She got offers. Someone would say, actual? Question mark? Offer? Question mark? Elfin would reply with $1,000 runes, to which someone would say, PayPal or Venmo. She had these guys
So people are probably memeing. Consider this is the 4chan crowd. I don't know how much Mujin knows about that. Unfortunately, when I was younger, I was in that crowd, which it was why I can kind of read these people better than I probably should have. No, I'm 40 now, not 14 though, so I know better, I think.
wrapped around her finger, and she knew that. She'd somehow always end up being short on money no matter how much people donated, and at some point would even open commissions. Yeah, well, it turned out that her commissions were her just finding a Japanese artist, stealing their art, and then adding small modifications and making it her own. But her fans didn't care. Listen, she was a girl failure. She wasn't perfect. Yes, she did some weird things, but don't worry. They'll be the one to fix her. So chill.
No,
Elfin had
no
essentially
one can
done
fix
what
her.
no other edgy VTuber could have ever hoped to achieve. She said some of the most vile, racist shit known to mankind, all while having a massive army of simps supporting her. God, I mean, she must have felt invincible, like she could do anything, like she was untouchable, and to be honest, she was. But that was, of course, until her
Well,
entire world crumbled right
yeah.
before her very eyes, all
She
due to
fucked
someone
up
she
herself.
thought she could trust. On December 4th, 2024, I'd release a video titled How This Entitled VTuber Lost Her Career Overnight. It would talk about Gunpei, an extremely edgy VTuber that had 1/10 of the audience Elfinpsyop has. You see, someone made a fan-made plushie of her and wanted to sell it. She had a complete crash out and started being racist towards them. The entire VTuber community rallied against her, and instead of apologizing, she doubled, tripled, then quadrupled
Yeah, I saw
down.
that video.
It was very embarrassing and humiliating just for about anyone who had self-awareness. Now, after my video would come out, some people would take it upon themselves to investigate her further. What they'd end up finding is a very, and I mean very, parasocial community. You couldn't even join her Discord server if there was any doubt that you were a woman. Gunpei would immediately ban you and say that she doesn't want any other man in her server to give attention to any other woman but herself. She essentially acted as everyone's girlfriend, but it went way beyond that. If you sent her a picture of your sausage, yes, your straight up genitalia in DMs, instead of blocking you like 99.99% of women, she would instead give it a rating. She'd compliment it. She'd write a paragraph about it. Yeah, trust me, I was shocked too.
Okay, I didn't
Anyone
know
could essentially
this
DM her
part.
anything, and she was chronically online in her Discord. This is how she was able to get so many different gifts and so much money from her community. I know this already sounded familiar to you when it came to Elfin, but it went deeper than that. Gunpei had another account by the name of Zuba. She used to post normal things on there, but then one day posted an image of her in a bikini, specifically showcasing, yeah, you guessed it, her belly. That tweet would get over 25,000 likes, and that's when she would decide to make a VTuber, knowing she can take full advantage of that. And she did. She was practically invincible. That whole backlash about her being racist, my video coming out, nothing affected her at all. But her career still somehow ended. You know why? Well, it turned out she had a boyfriend. When you tell your community that you're their collective girlfriend, and it turns out you had a boyfriend behind the scenes, you lose all your fans. It's just that simple. Well, this was
Unless you're a Belle Delphine. Belle Delphine is still going on. Not that she's... I don't know if she posts on OnlyFans. I know that she posts on Instagram on a different account. Whatever.
was revealed, she would scrub her YouTube channel, delete her Discord server, and deactivate her Twitter account. She would briefly reactivate it later and sell her entire model and assets for around $2,200. It would somehow get bought by a viewer of mine. I hope he's enjoying the model. And that was that. It wasn't her racism. It wasn't her weird attitude. It wasn't her being an unlikable person that canceled her. It was simply her having a boyfriend. When you're parasocial, you're invincible unless you're lying to your community. That's the one taboo rule you can't break. What's really funny is that she would go as far as trying to reinvent herself, creating a new VTuber identity in May of 2025. And in just the span of like a couple of months, people would discover that there was a lot of similarities between Gunpei and this new Mirio Maki.
Never
On
watched
July
this one.
8th, she would post an explanation apologizing for her past behavior, and she hasn't
And I don't
posted or
care.
streamed since then. Now, you would think that since her and Elfin shared so many similarities, back when her controversy was happening, Elfin would have maybe came in and defended her. I mean, Gunpei wasn't even saying half the edgy shit that Elfin said on her feed, right? So, come on. Surprisingly, though, okay, it's not really a surprise, Elfin would join the dogpiling, saying, "Oh my god, my based racist Chuba, ooh, it's only funny when they say shit unintentionally and not in an active effort to harm/insult someone. When did we lose sight of what's actually funny?" So look, this tweet makes absolutely zero fucking sense, okay? This is just Elfin being the typical pick-me, seeing that
Yeah.
someone's being hated and trying to profit off of it.
Yeah.
How? Well, it's simple. Gunpei had a lot of parasocial fans, so Elfin clearly wanted some to come to her community instead. But above all, she
okay, I
wanted you
see.
to know that she wasn't a grifter, okay? She was
Sure, she wasn't.
a real girl failure. She was somehow taking the moral high ground. I'm not fake like you, okay? I'm authentic. I'm as real as it gets, and I know what I'm doing. And that's the attitude she always took when she saw someone doing something similar to her and getting canceled or getting into trouble. What's deeply ironic here, though, okay, is that barely a few months after she was taking this moral high ground on Gunpei, someone would come out with a 51-page Google Doc about her on April 18th,
I have actually not seen this one.
2005. His name was Average Bird Enjoyer. And this was significant because he was watching her from the beginning back in 2024, and he was one of her lead mods. He was always there for her, as well as always in her chat. I mean, look at this. On a scheduled stream on YouTube, there was a pinned message saying, Elf is currently dead asleep. Potentially no stream today. We'll move to tomorrow if that's the case. The stream was still running as she was doing some sort of a donathon. It's kind of like a subathon, but it involves direct money. You'd hear some sort of a Discord ring on the stream, and Average Bird Enjoyer would come in and say, that was me calling her to see if she'd wake up, lol. So this was someone who, as far as the community was concerned, was close to her. In fact, the guy wasn't just close, okay? He was borderline insane. At some point, Elfin would be streaming and she had a donation goal for PC funds set at $100. Average Bird Enjoyer would come in and donate in one payment $10,000.
Holy fuck.
Probably and most likely because he thought he could be the one to fix her. But here's the deal. He wasn't the only one. The document that Average Bird Enjoyer wrote was 51 pages long, and it involved 6 people total, including himself. But are we actually going to bother diving deep into this mess?
Please don't.
Hell no. Honestly, it's so pathetic, it's not even worth doing that. I'll just sum it up for you. In a nutshell, Average Bird Enjoyer had spent over $50,000 on Elfin in the...
Let's hope he doesn't murder her. Like that guy in Korea. Was it Korea or Japan? One of those, like Asian country anyway.
Span of like less than a year. Listen, I have to specify this. He found her when she had less than 500 followers, probably 50 viewers. She was not a big streamer by any means. But Average Bird Enjoyer went all out thinking that he'll genuinely be able to like be Elfin's partner, okay? That they're gonna date. He thought they were exclusive to begin.
He, in fact, could not fix her.
With. He sent her $10,000 on that stream. He hired her an editor. He got her a manager. He was willing to pay for her new VTuber model. They met up IRL and he took her to multiple Michelin star restaurants. Dude blew a apartment's down payment on this girl failure. But he was the only guy who actually had to spend this much money. The other 5 guys spent almost nothing. And they got the same treatment that he got. What was that treatment, you might ask? Well, other than meeting up with her IRL and doing stuff, she's not a virgin. I mean, who could have ever guessed that? It all would start with them messaging her, being in her Discord, right? Messaging her, and her reciprocating. She would then get in calls with them, okay? Listen, she would then get in calls with them. And as they were talking, right? They could be talking about their day, a game they're playing, whatever. She would start to flick her fucking bean, bro. She would start gooning right then and there to their voice. No warning, no nothing, dude. And then after she'd be done, she'd send them explicit pictures. These guys would of course be shocked. What the hell is happening, dude? And then the next day when they'd ask her about it, she'd say, oh, I don't remember anything. I was severely drunk. Please delete all my pictures. However, she'd keep doing it over and over and over.
Okay.
And each of these guys thought that she was being exclusive just with them when she was doing this with 6 people at the same and
okay, this is before I found her content. God damn.
As I said, she'd meet up with them, she'd do things with them, God knows what. But overall, she wasn't this pure virgin girl failure she was making herself out to be. That's pretty much the 51 pages in a nutshell. It also involved incredible DMs like this, with Elfin saying, birdie to you, birdie igu. If you just touch my noe, my puffy, it'll make me fub. Kun, teal it faster. Winku, you know, I'm gins what good do. Average Bird Enjoyer would then say, translated, Elfin telling me if I touched her pussy, she'd come real fast. What am I doing with my life? Anyway, when this document came
Very
out,
good question,
Elfin
Mujin.
was furious. She was watching her entire world crumble around her. She saw what happened with Gunpei and did not want the same to happen to her. She had been parasocial her entire career. Her entire Discord was obsessed with her. She can't have this leak. And yet it did. So she would tweet this out on...
Sorry, just to pause. Is this fucking Honkai Star Rail music in the background?
almost immediately, saying, I see shit like this and know for a fact that these people barely do any research and just love saying shit. I had phone sex for a couple of days or weeks with some guys. Okay, wait, hold the phone. Days or weeks? That's a huge range. Anyway, I told all of them day one I was not into dating, and they agreed with me. Most of them don't even care about the situation. They went out of their way to message me just to say how stupid this drama was. Only Bird and another person who repeatedly tried to threaten and dox me were emotional homosexuals. Bird not only went around trying to poison my community, he actively shared information about me to other server members in an attempt to make them join his side. He went to all my mods and all my close friends in the server. People saying, oh my god, there's no evidence of Bird being a bad guy. First of all, 51-page expose about someone you apparently cared about as a friend, his words. If you really wanted to help me to stop my pattern of behavior, you could discuss it with me like everything else. Just to cut her off here, something else that was mentioned in those 51 pages was how
you call them. I'm not sure if this bird guy is innocent, but yeah, she's fucked up.
when every single one of these guys found out what she was doing and confronted her, she would lash out. She'd get very angry and she wouldn't want to listen to a single thing they had to say, especially when they had something to say about alcohol, okay? Anyway, let's continue. But no, I only talked to Bird that way for a month. I crave validation from men. I admit I wanted compliments and I wanted attention, but he acted as if he was my dad. His friend would try to wingman and tell me I should meet Bird and just be with him. He could make my life so much better, and I straight up told him I wasn't into Bird. I have screenshots and evidence. Also, when I first started streaming and Bird came along, I was 19 at the time, extremely new to VTubing and having this much attention. He taught me everything about VTubing and keeping me in a bubble. She would then talk about the point of women not taking accountability, saying, motherfucker, all I've done is say I'm not a victim. I keep fucking saying I was wrong too. Why are you just ignoring this? Oh my god, she cheated. On who? I was dating no one at the time. I never dated any of them, and I have screenshots of some of the guys saying they knew what it was. It was not dating. We had phones gooning on call. She would then make another tweet, quoting something that many people were saying, oh my god, these poor lonely men, while she replied, while they're 25 plus adults. If a 19-year-old has to be held accountable for whatever she's done, you can't possibly in good faith ignore the horrible shit these men do just cause lonely. I literally live alone and talk to a total of 0 people IRL. I'm fucking lonely. And look at this very sad image she posted.
Yeah, that one was calculated.
Crying. But guys, don't worry. As she said in her own words, she is not acting like a victim. But look, to be completely impartial here, these guys were really weird, especially Average Bird and Joyer.
Yeah,
look, if you go and donate $10,000 in cash right now to a top streamer, they'll fucking block you because they know that you can't be donating this much money without ulterior motives. This document was made on purpose to destroy her career, isolate her, and further take advantage of her by manipulating her as she was all alone, okay? The document also revealed that she's always been known as being a certain person on 4chan. Someone who has had a history of sending nudes and being explicit. They'd even go as far as saying that while she was talking to these 6 different guys, she had an IRL boyfriend. It was an attempt at totally annihilating her entire reputation.
I don't think she had a boyfriend.
Though, she refused to take any accountability. She'd say that she was groomed. Brother, you were 19 and you had continued by that point posting gooning audios on your general chat in Discord. What do you think this is? The objective conclusion to this entire drama was that everyone in this sucked ass. But no, Elfin wanted to be seen as the victim. And even though normally she should have had her career destroyed by this point, she should have been completely abandoned by her community, the opposite ended up happening.
I mean, as long as you're popular on like 4chan and shit, there will be a deluge of people. I don't really go that often onto that website anymore. Like I said, I'm 14 at 14, so it's not my jam anymore, but
She again had defied all odds, and let me show you exactly why. Rima Evenstar is a VTuber who makes some very detailed video essays about
she is a horse.
Community. A couple months after this document had dropped, she would release the video titled "She Played Her Fanbase Like a Dating Sim the Elfinpsyop situation, garnering over 100,000 views. In this video, she would constantly be referring to Elfin as a menhera, a term for a character who is emotionally unstable and in poor mental health. They are very emotionally fragile and experience extreme mental ups and downs and mood swings, which can make them a bit difficult to be around.
Japanese
They
shit.
may have an
I
unhealthy
don't know
dependence
that
on
much about
love
it.
or their partner, be a troublesome person who displays unexpected aggression and tries to dominate others, be easily hurt by the smallest of words, or have suicidal thoughts and think the world would be better off without them. Hey man, I don't know about you, but this perfectly describes Elfinpsyop so far, right? But Elfin was outraged. She despised that video and hated Rima to the point where she added her on Twitter and said, "Rima Evenstar, I don't know why you like to spread genuinely dog shit and simply false rhetoric so easily. Maybe it's because you're a drama VTuber by name, but it's just bullshit to spread false things without
I think I saw this
Firstly,
one.
when you made the drama video on me, you got a lot of facts wrong and didn't contact me to confirm details either. Nice journalism. Now you're spreading shit about me suicide baiting? To you? I'm sorry, what? I think you making a drama video on me during a time I was constantly drunk and not in a stable mental state would obviously fuck me up. Like you call me menhera all the time and don't expect me to somehow crash out? I was still relatively civil and only DM'd you about my issues with your video hoping to at least get facts straight. Believing in random people messaging you rather than the person at the center of the situation is crazy. You do not hate journalists enough. In fact, this got so bad that when Rima posted the tweet announcing the video, it would get totally brigaded by Elfin's community. 102 replies, and all of them filled with insults, slurs, and an attempt to straight up character assassinate Rima, saying, "Wow, I used to watch your content, but not anymore. Wow, you're a terrible journalist. Wow, you suck at what you do," etc.
Like I said, as long as you have enough weird ass people from 4gen on your side, all social media is, well, gonna be like this shit.
etc. That's simply because Elfin had replied to this post and ratioed Rima, doubling her likes, simply saying that she is not a femcel. But this still doesn't explain how she was able to survive a Google Doc like this. This doesn't explain why she didn't end up like Gunpei. What happened exactly? Well, here's what her diehard fans had to say in response to her reply on Rima's post. And it perfectly encapsulates why she still had a very strong community that kept growing. Look at this idiot. "Hey, I'd just like to say that I'm naive and emotionally vulnerable and would be easily groomed. DM content." What about this dumbass? "I'd be honored to be one of your toys."
God
Crazy
damn.
they're spinning it as a forced or
This one I
bad
didn't
thing.
see before.
Lol. So these men were so irrevocably castrated that they realized, hey, I don't like this woman because she's a virgin. No. I like her because she's a girl failure and because she might give me a chance. If she did it with 6 different guys at the same time, what's stopping me from DMing her and finding her in a call gooning with me? If anything, Average Bird Enjoyer's Google document backfired tremendously. It made Elfinpsyop seem way more reachable to the average viewer than they thought. So their whole fantasy, or should I say delusion, of trying to fix her, wifing her up, impregnating her, and prolonging the white race wasn't so far off.
Please never impregnate the person behind Elfinpsyop. That kid is gonna have fetal alcohol syndrome.
By this point, Elfin kept gaining followers, kept getting viral tweets, her community kept growing, she was making more money, and her viewership was doing better than ever. She had reached over 100,000 followers, something very impressive, especially for a VTuber, and by this point we could easily say that she was becoming very dangerous, because in VTubing, there are so many desperate people trying to make a name for themselves that they'll see what works and try to copy it. And since things were going so well with Elfin, since she was totally invincible to any criticism or controversy, someone would end up noticing how well she was doing and try to copy her, even though they had way more followers and way more influence. Her and Elfin would end up becoming friends, and then eventually enemies.
This part
Ririgaki is a French rap
is
VTuber
interesting.
who used to stream exclusively in French. Around 2024, she would start streaming more in English, and at some point, one clip from her stream would go mega viral. It went so viral that there's actually a good chance you saw this already. Watch.
Says their name. So here is broccoli with fucking dog.
Racham.
Look, no brain cell. No brain, nothing. After we have here, Fruby, who is one of my cutest rats too. Look, she's a
they're
rat
cute.
girl.
The rats are cute.
With curly hair. She's really cute. It's Bean. Bean is my only boy, but he don't have a cuckoo yet.
Alright, so you get the point. French girl talking about her rats, very cute, very adorable. Yeah, well, it would go mega viral. 308.
And the only rat VTuber I subscribe to is, well, I don't actually subscribe to, but I watch is Zuma. Zuma is Norwegian. Norway is better than France. Don't at me, bro.
4,000 likes on Instagram, and guys, when it came to Twitter, 12.7 million views, 134,000 likes. It was practically on everyone's feed, and everyone was talking about it. If you told someone, hey, did you see the French rat girl? They'd say, yes, I saw it on my feed. It went mega viral. I'm not understating this. She would then reply to this saying, hi, I'm Riri, a rat girl VTuber from France. You can follow me on Twitch or join my Discord if you want, link in bio, but be warned, I'm the most hated VTuber of all France. And guys, she was not kidding. When the French community saw her going viral, they were livid. They saw how viral she was going in the English-speaking community, and they did their best to show them who she truly was.
That's French people for you.
For example, would say, maybe because you're a lolicon and you think Hitler is cool and you're overly annoying, you force your voice to sound like a kid. Your response to saying the N-word is, I hate everyone equally. Look at
unless there is a reason for that. Apparently there is a reason for that.
There's a very brief lore dump on this bitch because there's no information in English on her. She used to be known as Riri Meow, and her whole content revolved around porn. Still does, but it was worse then. She was retweeting lolliporn and had a Discord server with
never mind.
et
She's
cetera, et cetera.
not the best person in the world.
Tweets she made in the past, like top 5 reasons racism is bad, and then the next picture is thanks for watching, so implying that racism isn't bad. Here's the deal though. Riri's defense on Twitter would be, guys, French people doxed me. They sent police at my house. Yes, they swatted me, and they harassed me at IRL conventions. All for this, for my edgy jokes, for being a lolly. All of a sudden, French people looked evil, and it doesn't take much to convince someone that French people are evil, okay? The French would argue, well, look, there's these videos on YouTube that expose her. Go watch those things instead. Okay, cool. Here's a video.
I'm not the biggest fan of the French people, but damn.
Titled The Worst French Streamer, Riri Gaki, with over 448,000 views. Oh hey, here's another one, saying The Worst French Streamer, Riri Meow, with over 245,000 views. I watched both of them in full, in the native language of French, and I can tell you right now, this is what they said in a nutshell. Number 1, she's edgy and she made Nazi jokes, okay? And number 2, she's a lolly. In fact, most of these 2 videos were criticizing her for being a lolly, that she was playing this childlike character, how she was speaking.
That's whatever, like, fucking half the VTubers are, but maybe there's a point to it.
Speaking with a childlike voice, and how she was overall just cringe. But here's the deal. For the English-speaking community, this only proved one thing. French people, when it came to VTubing, were completely and utterly out of their depth. VTubing originated from Japan, and this whole lolicon culture originated from there too. For people who actually watched VTubers, it was totally normal. It doesn't matter if you think lolicons are weird, right? I mean, I think it's a very reasonable take to think that. But when
lolicons
your
are
thumbnail is
weird.
Riri Gaki with the word pedophile on top of it, you start losing a lot of people from your side. As time passed by, French people were seen as more and more unreasonable. This is not worth swatting over. This is not worth doxing over. You'd see pictures like this of a French person saying lolicon equals pedophile, with Riri Gaki quote tweeting saying, don't cry, I'm just a drawing. The typical drama you'd find in English-speaking communities too, and typically VTuber watchers would always defend someone like Riri, so they were totally out of their depth here. They'd keep trying to prove that she was problematic, showing her using GIFs saying, settle down, N-word hard R, and also showcasing how she had a role on her Discord called Rotten Waffen, a play on words on the Waffen SS, otherwise known as the Waffen Schutzstaffel, a division in...
Okay, that part, it goes a bit too far.
German army during World War II. Their efforts, again, proved ineffective. And the final straw would be when they would show this image of Riri when she was streaming with Facecam, apparently doing the, German salute.
No, it is a Roman salute.
Asmongold reacting to it. And he concluded, as well as others, that she was simply adjusting her webcam. Guys, you're trying way too hard to make her look bad. Come on. This was seen as so crazy in the English-speaking community that even Elfin went out of her way to defend her as she was being cancelled by French people. By this point, Riri Gaki was followed directly by Asmongold on Twitter, and she had the entire English-speaking community backing her up. She was treated horribly by the French community, but now she got given a second chance straight from the heavens. However, here's the problem. I don't know if it was the language barrier or just the fact that she's probably mentally ill, but Riri Gaki completely misunderstood what the second chance meant. She thought that she now could finally get away with anything. She could say anything, do anything, and she'd have a community here to back her up always. When in reality, this wasn't the case at all. What actually happened was that she got a second chance.
I'm gonna put a guess in. she tried to fly too close to the sun.
Got a new community, and they were hoping that French people were exaggerating. They were hoping that she was going to genuinely redeem herself. And as you might have guessed, this could not have been further from the truth. Shortly after getting this incredible second chance, she would increase the racist and edgy rhetoric by 1,000%, all while adding that to a cancerous cocktail of politics. Some guy would say, French quote-unquote people, the fuck is wrong with your country, Jesus? To which Ririgaki would say, immigrant and African. Here's another tweet with a lot of views and a lot of likes. Saw a Jew for the first time in my life yesterday. I always thought they were...
What the actual fuck? What the actual fuck? I don't really like any religions, but this is wild.
We're all extinct. Here's her comparing Nazis to trans people. I mean, with the only
that just is
being
wild.
the fact that one has impressive taste in clothing and the other one being promoted by the U.S. government. She'd have a tweet saying, "Can I be called a white rat supremacist? I love white rat." And when Kanye West would say, "I'm a you know what," she would quote tweet this with an image of an anime girl raising her hand. So as I said, she completely misunderstood the...
I didn't even see that. Is Kanye West even relevant anymore? I hope he's not.
Very simple thing she had to do. Just keep talking about your rats, woman. Just keep being cute. But no, she had over 130,000 followers at this point, and she was taking a page right out of Elfinpsyop's playbook. Probably the worst thing you can do. But hey, it seemed like they were getting along very nicely. Ririgaki would say, "Can you teach me how to be cute, please?" And Elfin would reply with, But you're already so kawaii desu. It seemed like the 100,000 castrated men who followed Elfin just had another girl failure join the mix. And they were getting along. Not only did they increase their odds of maybe fixing another woman and marrying her,
but did they become rivals?
Maybe they could look forward to them collabing together, right? Oh my god, isn't that awesome? Well, I'm sure it would have been. But then, some people decided to dig into Ririgaki's past, when she used to be Riri Meow and produced adult content. Now look, let's get one thing straight. Riri never produced any explicit content. It was mostly centered around thighs and feet. And while yes, this was enough for people to call her a whore and all sorts of things, this is simply who she used to be. And for the most part, I mean, people loved it. Oh my god, a girl failure and making stuff like this? It's like Elfin posting her tongue. What else do you want? But as these castrated guys were looking through her different images, they noticed something interesting, particularly in one image set of 3 images. You see, she'd have a photo set where she wore non-matching thigh highs. Everything looked normal, right? On this picture, on the other picture, until you got to the 3rd picture, in which we can very
well, there it is.
A black guy's hand grabbing her left thigh.
Black guy. I mean, his skin is darker than mine, but...
Now look, normally this wouldn't be an issue. I would hope that it's never an issue. But saying that Ririgaki would tweet out every other day how France and Paris is getting ruined by immigrants, and more specifically Africans, her new, let's say, community wasn't too happy about this. In fact, they were furious. It seemed like...
Or okay, maybe there's like a filter on the image. And there's like a skin tone difference. Well, okay, let's see where this goes.
Like, no matter how much Ririgaki disliked African immigrants, she still couldn't resist the BBC. I mean, this is so crazy. It was treated like this leak, this thing that no one could have ever predicted, when in reality, on her own wiki page, you can see that in 2023, she made some guy called Euro, who happened to be a VTuber, her boyfriend. And when you checked out his model, his model was black. But no, it was a betrayal. How dare she?
Is definitely
and she suffered
not
the
a
wrath of her own
light-skinned
She had pretty much
avatar.
stabbed herself with a knife she forged herself. It was official. She was a grifter. Someone who didn't believe in anything she was saying and was only doing it purely for her own benefit. Someone would say, if you can't see the grift in tweeting racist shit, then race mixing all while hating immigrants, then I don't know what to tell you. To which she would say, Bro thinks all French people are all white like snow, lol, we have an island. Actually, the French have multiple islands, like
Yeah.
Corsica, Guadeloupe.
The French colonized a lot of places. History will tell you.
République, but this didn't matter at all in the grand scheme of things. As she was getting attacked pretty much daily at this point with her own community turning against her, she would try to quell the flames by becoming even more edgy somehow and saying, next cosplay I'm doing, Lolly Hitler.
So she wanted to... No, I'm not gonna even say that. A British person.
This would prove to be nothing more than a pathetic attempt at recovering the community that was turning on her, because very shortly afterwards, she would get suspended from Twitter by mass reporters who just so happened to be people who were pissed that she was dating a black guy. And the cherry on top would be her also getting suspended from Twitch. In her own Discord, she'd say, "Hi, I got banned from Twitter and Twitch again because of a big campaign of harassment and cancel culture. I did a tweet on my alt account if you want to RT, I don't know what.
Hold up. She ran her own clip channel. Normally, streamers have dedicated fans who run the clip channels. This is interesting for me. I mean, I'm too small to have a clip channel, but
Tired, I really hope to die." Here we go with the baiting again. I don't know, I don't want to let my haters win, but I'm really too tired. 4 years of all this is too much. You can follow my new account if you want, linking her Clips account and saying, "I don't know if I'll be back one day, I'm really tired." She would then post a statement on that account saying, "If you didn't see it, my main account was not supported from Twitter haters because some of them believe that I'm a Nazi and the others are mad that I'm not racist. I love it. Seeing people this mad and obsessed by a little rap girl proves to me that I'm really the only person here. You are part of the problem if you think that everybody I don't like is Hitler. Being racist is good, or VTuber shouldn't have a boyfriend. I'm going to take a little break from Twitter while waiting for my appeal to be accepted. Thank you all for the support. I love you a lot. I have an incredible community and lots of kind people who support me. I'm never going to kneel down in front of horrible humans, and I'm never going to let them cancel me. Cancel culture is dead and exists only for insecure people. I'm still going to stream on Twitch and YouTube and be active on Instagram and Discord. Your support means the world to me. Keep making extremist people pissed off and laugh at them. We are stronger than hate. And remember, vive la résistance. Rats live matter and are stronger than evil humans." Signed.
I guess I'm looking at Twitter. Yeah, she's still active under the X account or X-shitter account, Twitter account. Dumb French rat.
Riri. So
I am not gonna
this was a
follow that
desperate
one.
attempt at trying to recoup a community that hated her guts at this point. After getting that incredible second chance with a mega viral clip, she spent all that time nurturing a racist community, people who disliked immigrants and minorities, and it turned out she had a black boyfriend. Her initial haters felt vindicated and her own community now turned on her. You couldn't really feel sorry for her, right? But throughout all this, her friend, Elfin, who was also another girl failure like her, and who had initially defended her when the French people were attacking her, what did she have to say by now? Would she show up for her?
Oh,
Defend her,
this
help
one,
her,
this
like a real friend would?
shit I saw.
Nope.
Yeah.
She would also turn on her because the girl failures would have a falling out that would make its way to the public battlefield. So as I said before, Elfin was someone who had defended Riri initially when she was getting the backlash after going mega viral. They would have some positive interactions here and there, but shortly after Average Bird Enjoyer's document would drop on Elfin, Riri Gaki would say, "Is this Gunpei 2.0? Someone would reply saying, "Please, rat girl, you're my last hope for a based petite girl failure indie VTuber. Don't e-date fans unless it's me, LMAO. God, I can puke in my fucking mouth." To which she would say, "I'm not going to e-date a fan. I have a boyfriend and I'm just a pet rat for you." So this was essentially Riri Gaki trying to capitalize.
To be fair, for like whole dumpster fire that is what you actually respond to, something like this, or you just don't respond.
On the fact that Elfin was potentially going to lose her career because of this document. She was taking the moral high ground, trying to steal any viewers she can from Elfin because she was trying to become her. This is when Elfin would start to subtweet her, not calling her directly just yet, saying the amount of e-holes rebranding to be girl failures, please bro, you do porn. You sell literal porn of yourself. Just go be some slutty cat girl or something. This is of course referring to Riri Gaki, how in the past she had a fansly and how now she rebranded as being a girl failure. When it came to her parasocial discord, though, she was way more straightforward. Someone would say Riri is nice, though, to which she would reply, I can't say this in good conscience when she blatantly called me Gunpie when my controversy happened. I can't forget that shit. Lol. How dare she call me Gunpie when I'm way worse than her? Like, how dare she when I'm literally worse than her in every way? The main confrontation between these two girl failures would occur when Elfin would post this tweet, with her character saying, hey guys, someone saying femcel, to which her character would say, not what I'm called. Shortly afterwards, Ririgaki would also use that same exact meme format, saying, hey guys, someone saying, not me, to which Riri would say, not what I'm called. Elfin at this point would be furious. How dare she copy me? So she would quote tweet this.
Okay, this is kind of funny. But then, that's why we're here. We are looking at a dumpster fire.
Say, you guys are all over her. How can she be a Nazi when she has a black boyfriend? Y'all need to do research. This was Elfin declaring war. She saw that her community was turning on her because she had a black boyfriend, so she was also looking to capitalize. However, Elfin was about to fight a war on two fronts.
There is
she
Fortune.
was going up against Ririgaki, while at the same time
is it
having
Fortune?
a demon
I don't
from
know.
her past,
But one of the image boards anyway.
4chan. You see, she
Yeah,
was an
okay,
active 4chan user ever since she was a young kid. Yes, I know, what a terrible fate. And 4chan would catch on to her. They'd understand exactly who she used to be and would start revealing some details about her real identity. The fact that she is a Pakistani who's studying in the UK. Now look, this was a very big deal, okay? Elfinpsyop's entire personality was centered around appealing to the cringe white supremacist who never leaves his home. She would also heavily imply, as you saw in her belly pics that she shared online, she seemed white, and that's exactly what she was selling to her audience, the fact that she's white and even Slavic. At some point she would say, I say niet a lot, which means no, and people ask me if I'm Slavic on stream. I'm not, I'm just a huge Russia boo. So she posted pictures of her belly and she seemed white. She also was really into Russian culture, I guess, and Russian language. So people assumed she was...
Someone who is into Russian culture is fine, but yeah. No, if you are into Russian politics in current year, please unfollow me.
Maybe Eastern European. In fact, her accent sounded pretty American. Some people would think she's American and she would never really correct them. So seeing that she despised immigrants and any minorities for that matter, her being Pakistani would be a death sentence. But this rumor wasn't new. It was being shared on 4chan as early as mid-2024. It would start to really catch up to her and irritate her in 2025 though, specifically during the summer. This is when, for the first time, she would start being confronted live on stream by chatters who were asking her, are you really Pakistani? And she would get very triggered at that. Watch.
Pretending to be white? I don't think I need to pretend. I think I am.
Here's another clip.
Takis aren't white. You are so retarded, dude. That's actually insane. Do you realize how ethnicities work? Do you realize how ethnicities work? Or maybe you don't. Genuine question. Aren't you a Paki living in the UK? Who are you to complain? Did you get that from 4chan?
They probably got it from 4chan.
She was starting to realize where these people were getting their information from. Wait, did you get this from 4chan? The website that she kept flexing, that she had used ever since she was 13? Interesting.
And this is gonna be a lie. We'll get to that later, I suppose.
By early 2025, many pictures of Elfin's face would somehow find themselves on the internet. So she'd tweet out, in May 2025, I've been face doxed and harassed so much now, so here, this is me. Yup, now what? LMFAO, it don't even matter, man, no more. Now this image is actually very important. It would of course get deleted later. She would draw some clown makeup on her face in Microsoft Paint, right? I can tell you right now, this clown nose is doing a lot of heavy lifting because it would have very easily exposed her ethnicity. Additionally, it doesn't take a genius to understand that this image is blown the fuck out. Look at that hand. It is blinding. Almost as if she completely upped the levels in Photoshop in an effort to appear white. Something would really crack in Elfin starting summer 2025, okay? This is when she would up the edginess to yet a new level. And so whenever someone criticized her or called her a Pakistani or said that they had proof, she would just call them a Jew. And it would work because her community hated Jews. This would work almost every single time. They'd eat it up. They would love it. And she would get away with it. However, as her rivalry with Ririgaki would start really heating up, Ririgaki would say this: I love how she was trying to cancel me saying I was dating an immigrant, black/Indian/Arabic boy, while pretending to be white, lol. To which Elfin would say, why are you so obsessed with me, man? Now I was getting serious. Look, Ririgaki, as much as she was hated for dating a black guy, she still held influence in the whole girl failure aesthetic club. She shared many followers in common with
I really hope that girl failure aesthetic club isn't a thing. I mean, of course it is a thing. Whatever, let's go to you.
Elfin, this 100,000 bundle of castrated men, and so her saying what many have been saying already was a genuine threat. This drama started really heating up around November 2025, to which Ririgaki would say, please stop thinking of me as a girl failure, guys, it's exhausting. I did learn to take care of me. I go outside a lot now. I have a lot of passion and love for nature and cool subjects
So
like
she
air
tries
culture,
to
insects.
rebrand.
I really like myself and take care of me. I did reduce my alcohol drinking to 0. I'm fucking proud to be alive and my depression is going away. Please understand that and stop seeing me as a 4chan weirdo or a girl who is mentally ill and drama post / talk about political toxic subject, obsessed with skin color or not jokes. It makes me really sad. I'm getting better and becoming a cool person now that my life is comfy. Yes, I like edgy humor and I don't care about humans or minorities, but I'm a responsible adult, not a failure or anything else. I'm just Riri. Someone would reply with, that's literally the audience you wanted and even commissioned yourself as a Nazi or girl failure, a loser. Did the Elfin grift not work? To which Riri would say, yeah, Nazi uniform are really pretty.
I mean, fair enough. They were made by Hugo Boss, but that reply is still like, what the actual fuck?
It's like talking to a wall. This tweet was definitely very interesting and a bit out of touch. I mean, what have you been doing the past year? She's practically begging everyone to stop thinking of her as a girl failure when she only had herself to blame. She was the one who was intentionally acting that way. Elfin would quote tweet that tweet and say, I'm so fucking confused about this woman, I swear. Wasn't OnlyFans catgirl VTuber. Starts following me, completely changes design to look like mine. Suddenly became an alcoholic, quote unquote. Starts copying my tweets 1-to-1. This is not an exaggeration, by the way, okay? The tweets would be very, very similar. Before discovering Elfin, Riri literally had no idea what gooning meant. And there she was all of a sudden, every couple of days, tweeting, yeah, I need to goon. I need to go goon. I goon too much. This was literally Elfin's entire personality.
That's grifting.
She was emulating it perfectly. Elfin would continue. I DM her about it, say I'm uncomfortable about it. She says, oh my god, sorry, you're my biggest inspiration. We make amends and move on. I support her when she gets into a big drama. When I get into drama, calls me Gunpei 2.0 instead of DMing me and asking me what's up. So-called friend, am I right? I get pissed at this and stop talking to her. Copies me further, almost all my jokes, all my edgy humor, oh my god guys I'm so gross and gooner and girl failure and edgy, and posts not shit constantly. Where did all this suddenly come from, bro? A few months pass, now she says oh my god I'm healthy, I don't drink anymore, and I go outside, I'm not a Nazi guys. Basically we should forget the past few months happened entirely? Literally attacks me out of nowhere, saying I accused her for having a black boyfriend. I don't care about your boyfriend's race, man. I don't care about you, dude. Can you...
This is in fact a lie. She would care and use it to her advantage.
Leave me alone and maybe try to be more creative. You don't get pity points because people attack you online. You literally did it to yourself. I'm edgy and I know people...
Well, okay, let's say the character Elfinpsyop would, whether the person behind it, I don't know.
Will dislike
I don't know
I've
the
been like
character.
this since
I don't know the character. I don't know the person.
Learn to be yourself and stop attacking people for no reason. Thanks. So look, Elfin was definitely making some good points here. Yes, it is true. Riri definitely started acting like her after following her. That's a fact. It seemed like Ririgaki's intent from the get-go was stealing as many viewers as she could from her, and when she saw that Elfin was potentially going to lose her career, she didn't try to defend her. She tried to make her move and call her Gunpei 2.0. However, it's not like Elfin wasn't doing the exact same thing. Look at this sentence near the end. I'm edgy and I know people will dislike me for it. I've been like this since day one. Again, this whole idea that, guys, I'm real. I'm authentic. In fact, Elfin would go as far as saying on her stream that Ririgaki was a very rare example of a true grifter. In her opinion, the word is overused. Not everyone's a grifter, but Riri was. This was her implying, of course, that she was a real girl failure. She was actually proudly alcoholic. Everything about her was totally authentic. And hey, to be fair, It worked. After Elfin would make her post about Riri, someone would confront Riri asking her, yo, what's up? Like, what happened with Elfin? Here's what she'd say in her Discord. She tried a lot in the past to get me cancelled on Twitter and can't stop talking about how I stole her identity because I have a similar humor, / black hair, / loves alcohol, / depressed. Dude, imagine making that your entire personality and being mad that...
I can unfortunately think of a couple more VTubers who tried that, but well, maybe not black hair. Usually they are like pink or
someone stole it. Dude, who are these people? Anyway, she would continue, cannot stand her. I did try to be her friend, but cannot stand girls sending nudes to 6 persons at the same time while trying to proclaim that she doesn't have a boyfriend, is white, and is not a whore all the time because she doesn't want to lose her community. She is not honest, and she is just another gimmick like she says. Now, to be fair, even Riri had made good points here, right? But it's like, both of these people are so unlikable, you don't really care about taking sides, do you? However, even with all that being said, the next day, Riri would make yet another post on her Twitter. Her alt account, of course, because her main one got permanently suspended. Her appeal failed. She'd say, I would like to apologize for all the people following me because I was looking and acting like a based, edgy girl failure. I know the drastic change of me getting mentally better and stopping to act like a loser can be deceiving for a lot of you, and I understand if you stop following me, but I cannot keep going like that. Sorry for looking fake. I never lied about my depression or my daily difficulty like my alcohol consummation. I don't think she even bothered translating this, bro. Consommation, that's literally a French word, but yeah, her alcohol consumption. Secondly, I would like to apologize to @Elfinpsyop. I have her blocked because I don't want toxicity in my feed and don't appreciate her as a person, but I feel like it's still important to talk about that. I found Elfin's content when I was at my lowest after all the harassment from the French community, and instead of being a better person or learning to love myself, I ended up stealing and copying some of her gimmick, like she called it. This is not correct and not what a content creator should do. I did tweet like her and used to do the same content on Twitter as her to be accepted and seen by
so
people
she's admitting to it.
Okay. In France, but I'm not proud of that, and I would like to have learned sooner that I should just be myself instead of wanting some attention.
Hold up. People having well, that's a burn.
Attention on the internet while copying somebody's gimmick. I'm sorry, Elfin, for all of that, and for not talking gently about you publicly after having your help. I hope one day you have the chance to get better and go away from all the toxicity that Twitter and other social media are spreading. I understand that you see me as a LARPer or a grifter, but my political beliefs were never fake. I live in a dangerous country because of immigration and multiple other things. I just ended up basing my content only on that and edgy jokes to pander to these types of people when I'm in fact just a normal autistic woman who just wants to share her hobbies. I'm not gonna lie, but I see myself as a LARPer. I also want to talk to you about the black boyfriend controversy. I know a lot of my past fans were following me because of all this LARPing. I understand your sadness when you learn about the VTuber that you considered as based having what you thought was a black immigrant boyfriend. I don't like saying that, but dating an immigrant or a black male is not something I would be able to do. I did date for 2 years in the past a brown/tan French male. This always was public since I was always streaming with him. Guys, don't worry, he wasn't black, he was just brown. Like, dude. After all this LARPing, I think this...
You know what? That's kind of shit. If, like, they are several generations into the country and they've like integrated, I'd consider them proper citizen of the country. Again, if you disagree with that, please unfollow me.
This is normal, and my own fault that I ended up in a situation where I get harassed by my old fan base. Sadly, you were just following me for the based girl failure thing, and not even to look after my content or stream since you did not know about my ex-boyfriend. This makes me really sad that all this love was fake, but this is again my own fault for acting like that.
That's it. If you come into the country and you don't integrate and you try to like just create a criminal gang like we had with this one guy from Iran that literally made a gang and a rap career about said gang. I forget his name. He got deported and that's fine. Yeah, please come into a country, join into the community, be awesome. Don't come here and do crime. That's not just for immigrants. That's for the average person. Don't create a street gang, please. no matter your nationality or ethnicity.
Deeply thankful to all the rat bros
Anyway.
for believing in me and understanding my word. You are the reason why today I can be this better person. Thanks to all the people who still love me and not just my toxic past. I love you. So first off, I just want to point out how she was talking about this like it happened in the past. Bro, this literally happened like 2 months ago. You know, like this there was barely any time between the old account and the new account. But hey, you know what? A surprising amount of self-awareness in this post. She pretty much admitted she was a LARPer. That's because she was. She was a LARPer and she was a grifter. Pretty much the same thing. But of course, this post wouldn't even get half the engagement she used to get when she would say, BRB going to my room to goon. But hey, it seems like some people stuck around for the rats and whatever. Most people who followed her for being a girl failure already left anyway when they found out she had a black boyfriend. Elfin would yet again.
I checked the name. It's Milan Jaff. That guy, he got deported into to Middle East. I believe he got taken to the Iranian part of Kurdistan. Also, I have 3 mouse cursors on my screen now. Anyway, I believe he got united with his family, but I do not particularly care. But yeah, don't be Milan Jaff. Be Khaled Azizi, a dude here in Turku that has a wonderful kebab place called what's fucking brain rot. Milan kebab, and yeah, make good food, or join as an engineer, join as IT professional, join as whatever. Join the community of whatever country you come to, and be awesome. Don't be a piece of shit like Milan Jaff. Yeah, don't be Milan Jaff.
Make another
Anyway.
post after this one, this time saying, I don't own the girl failure aesthetic, okay? It didn't matter to me as much when Riri was outright copying my tweets, word for word, just twisted to look more French. That made me feel weird. Any joke I made or content idea was being copied. I felt like I couldn't do anything original anymore, and I care about novelty more than anything. Yes, we know that, Elfin. You're not like the other girls, right? To be fair, a lot of people here thinking we used to be friends aren't exactly wrong. I genuinely thought we made up and were good friends until I found out how she talks about me behind my back. I genuinely tried, man. Anyone that knows me knows that I'm super mean usually, and she was kind back and said I was her biggest inspiration. I've dealt with mean girls all of my high school, man. I've had many bullies and fake friends.
Okay, I
to me, this
don't
greatly
really care
resembled
about
the
this
fake
part.
friend trope. So I don't like this defamation of Elfin is so toxic. I only copied her because I'm autistic and just want to make content. I'm sorry if you go through stuff, but you're an adult actively making choices every day. Getting rid of alcohol. Problem with those things
Blah,
is
blah,
to
blah,
a real
blah.
girl fair. Okay, I'm authentic. But my favorite part is when she says, I'm sorry if you go through stuff, but you're an adult actively making choices every day. Because that's
Audio too.
literally what people were telling Elfin when she got exposed as having been gooning to 6 guys at the same time. Look, overall, this was nothing more than 2 very disliked monkeys fighting. But if we stepped back and looked at the bigger picture,
Good damn.
the situation would go from a clown show to something very alarming. As you saw, Elfin was practically invincible. Riri took heavy inspiration from her seeing how much success she was finding as being a girl failure, and even though she had more followers and had way more virality, she still proceeded to copy her directly. Elfin was starting to become not just a danger to herself or to her fans, but to everyone in the VTubing community as
Okay,
a
where
whole.
where is this
Being a girl
part
failure
going?
should never be something that's encouraged. It's not a good thing. It's not meant to be a good thing. And yet her success was encouraging others to follow her lead. I mean, why wouldn't they? If saying racist slurs wasn't going to get her canceled, if having a secret boyfriend wasn't going to get her canceled, if having 6 different guys you're gooning to at the same time wasn't going to get her canceled, then the $1 million question was, what will? Wow.
And there
What would end up canceling
now.
Elfinpsyop, the person who had pretty much nurtured 100,000 castrated men who
So that's a
identified as
Pakistani
white
flag.
supremacists would be the day that she was finally exposed as a Pakistani. So, as I had already mentioned, Elfin's tweets would start to take a turn during the summer of 2025. Her edginess wouldn't just be for the sake of being edgy anymore. She would take on a sort of political rhetoric that you would maybe find during a Nick Fuentes stream. Look at this tweet, for example. Don't understand how you can live in this modern world and see all the bad shit happening and not immediately connect the dots and see that it's Jewish influence. So now, the Jews were responsible for everything. How about this tweet made a little while later saying, I love astronomy so much and I love stargazing, but I can't because there's too many immigrants in the UK and it scares me to go outside alone. As far as anyone was concerned, she wasn't even British. She wasn't from the UK, right? But there she was taking a political stance for a country that she doesn't even belong to. This tweet...
maybe an edgy opinion, but she's really taking the right wing. No, I'm not even gonna go there.
Particular will become way funnier later. You'll get why. But it wasn't just political rhetoric that was taking hold of her edginess. It was her edginess itself that was taking a whole other level. For example, with her posting this image of her model saying, R word my model, then replying, sorry guys, I meant R word with an asterisk. The joke here is that she wasn't correcting herself, she actually meant it. She'd also make a conscious effort to play into the jokes and controversies that were made about her.
That's Cyberpunk Edge Runner.
Groomer that, come here, let me groom you. This was in reference to the Google Doc that was dropped about her, in which 6 men that were in their 20s said that she groomed them. At some point she'd post a selfie that would get a lot of likes, of course, with her nose and mouth blurred because it would show her ethnicity, and had the caption...
I'm gonna say to Mujin, normally that is what VTubers do. They block their nose and mouth. That's I mean, maybe here's a point, but still that's what VTubers do. Yeah.
Elfinpsyop. This was her playing into the joke that some people were starting to call her Pakistani. So look, by now, it might be obvious what she's trying to do. She was being heavily criticized when it came to her actions by the wider VTuber community, and yet, her own community also had criticisms relating to the fact that she might just be Pakistani. This was her attempting to play into the joke while also raising the bar for her edginess, hoping that it'll kind of insulate her from criticism. This desperate attempt of trying to move on from the fact that she might just be an immigrant and trying to move on from her controversies would result in some pretty embarrassing moments, like her public crash out during the summer of 2025, when she would begin by saying, not a big fan of Indians. Someone would reply with, do not do this, you don't have to right-wing grift. This is probably someone who found her character and liked the design, or just
No, this is an Indian guy.
Like the belly pic. This is when she'd completely and totally crash out. Grift, question mark? Someone would say, you're so brave and definitely not a pick-me who tries too hard to look based. To which she would say, uh-oh, the big pick-me word, I'm so scared, please don't use it. Funny, when I voice my unfiltered opinions, I'll get random retards saying, oh my god, pick-me, oh my god, grifter. You realize when I say shit like that, I lose and filter more people rather than gain, right? I'd rather have people know what I think about shit than just follow me for cute tummy pics, expecting a wholesome person, kek. Funny enough, my opinions have remained the same since I was 14 on major social issues. I think I'm pretty consistent with my mentality on things. It's so funny to me how
she's consistent with her mental illness, that's true.
He thought this was a flex. That same person, snot-nosed swagger, would call her out and say, so you have the same opinions as a 14-year-old? Wow! And then he'd get blocked. She couldn't handle it. She crashed out and she just couldn't handle it anymore. The crash outs and weird behavior wouldn't be constricted to just Twitter, though. It would also happen in her Discord. She started saying things that were definitely out of place. I mean, they were fairly random, right? For someone who was maybe Slavic or American, saying things like, Northern Pakistan is entirely Aryan. No one seems to understand that.
I've seen this theory. I don't have proof for it. I don't know. Yeah, seems like cope. But I am not saying 100% inaccurate. Then there is no master race. Everyone is pretty fucking cool.
Pretty suspicious thing to say when you're not Pakistani. All of a sudden, this was very different from the rhetoric she was taking about immigrants and Pakistanis in general when it came to the UK. She used to tweet things like, if leftists think some girl on the internet is a pedophile for posting petite girls that look like her on the internet, then why do they promote immigration that bring in Muslim, pedophile, and racists? Curious. This is really funny when you consider the fact that some of the biggest Muslim immigrants to the UK are Pakistani, right? You see where I'm going with this? All of a
That is actually an interesting question. I do not know whether there are more Indian or Pakistani people immigrating to the UK. I mean, that was never a question that Indian and Pakistani people have a very big schism towards each other. that well, consider the Kashmir region, but I don't know how it works in the UK. I'll need to ask my friends who actually live in the UK.
Sudden, when the pressure was mounting on Elfin and it seemed like it was inevitable that she was going to be revealed as Pakistani, she started shifting the blame from Muslims to the Jews, saying things like, oh, the reason why all the Muslims are coming to Europe was because Jews want to destroy society. She'd also suspiciously start saying things like this. I'm not gonna lie, Muslims got one thing right, and it's that pigs are filthy animals. No nutritional value and so much fat relative to beef and chicken. Not even enough protein. Pork sucks in general. Bacon is good sometimes, but bacon in the UK is terrible.
Bacon is delicious. You're not going to change my mind about that.
Oddly suspicious to say this. This isn't edgy or based. This sounds like someone who's guilty. And that's because she was. Look, eventually it was very hard to deny this. 4chan was after her ass, and they were revealing the fact that she used to be on 4chan when she was younger. There are threads dating back to as far as 2021 where they were referring to her as someone who was very attractive and was peak wife material. They'd be calling her their ideal crush, their ideal wife when she was a minor, mind you. And one of those people complimenting her would say, lives in Pakistan. Additionally, what didn't help was that her name was doxed, and it was painfully Arabic. Pakistan is a Muslim country that's heavily influenced by Muslim culture, so of course they have a lot of Arab names. At this point, it was simply undeniable no matter how much she wanted it to not be true. So around the end of December 2025, she would admit to her Discord, yes, I'm Pakistani, but I promise I'm only half Pakistani. People would start hating on her, and of course she'd do what she did best, suicide bait, saying, whatever dude, stop hating me because I'm a halfie, fuck, I'm gonna kill myself now. Someone would say, I miss when I thought Elf was white. The hand reveal ruined everything. Then she would say, Jesus, okay, leave then, asshole. She'd then say, guys, I'm only half Pakistani, okay? I'm half Slavic, I'm Ukrainian, please, there's some white in me. But then she would realize a very important realization, saying, you guys hate me because I'm a halfie, I get it. Y'all don't even consider Slavs white either, so I'm double brown, I hate my life. Now you might be wondering, why is it that her community of white supremacists didn't consider Slavs white? Well, in these extremely edgy internet circles, they have a big problem with the fact that the Ukrainian president Zelensky is Jewish. They think he's some Jewish puppet and he's prolonging the war on purpose, right? That's their viewpoint. So to them, Ukrainians were Jewish. They were part of the problem. Someone would say, and your dad's Ukrainian, in parentheses, Jewish, to which you would say,
well, the president is, but there's a really big population of Orthodox in Ukraine as well.
He's not Jewish, in all caps. So now, she wasn't just seen as half Muslim, she was also seen as half Jewish, the two things that her community hated the most, and she made them that way. You have to understand, not everyone who found Elfin had that ideology. Some of them were totally innocent, found her through a belly picture, liked her, maybe fell in love with her because they're mentally ill, and then saw that she thought this
Yeah, goddamn.
and started sharing those same opinions. And now they were being backstabbed, betrayed. How dare you be exactly what you've been hating on for so long? Some people would start saying, hey, maybe you're not Pakistani, maybe you're just Indian, to which you would say, I'm too cute to be Indian, please guys. Like, how dare you call a Pakistani an Indian, bro? Like,
Okay, I can understand, like I said, that there's animosity between Indian and Pakistani people. Please never call an Indian person Pakistani nor a Pakistani person Indian. It's well, don't call a person not their home country. It's just insulting.
This would all keep building up until Christmas Day, the 25th of December 2025, when Elfin, in an extremely drunken state, would post a tweet that's barely legible, saying, I'm drunk enough to come out. I'm Pak, mom's side, and Ukrainian, dad's side. I'm a halfie. LMFAO, weird combo, right? I'm not Muslim and I hate Muslims. I love Christmas. I'm more Slavic than anything because I grew up Slavic. Slava Ukraina, Pakistan Zindabad. So look, just like with Ririgaki, right? With her black boyfriend.
What does Zindabad mean? I don't actually know.
This normally should have never been a problem. If anything,
I'm gonna Google that. And if it's something bad, then I'm not gonna say it. Pakistan Zindabad is a patriotic slogan. Okay, okay. So it's like Slava Ukraine, but yeah, just she's supporting that as well. Okay.
This would have been something to celebrate. Like, oh, you come from very different cultures. Cool, that's awesome. Wow. The only person that made it a problem was her. And as you can see from the 186 replies, her community wasn't really too happy about this. The next step was her trying to appease her community. Look, she knew what they wanted. They wanted whatever what was in between her legs. So she would desperately tweet things out like, Aryan man, please colonize me. Aryan man, please colonize the girl failure. Stinky bitch, Aryan man. I mean, at this point, it was just pathetic. The only feelings most people
Yeah,
had
she
when
was
seeing this
pretty
was
much done at
hate.
this
Like,
point.
come on, dude, what are you doing? Then on the 29th of December, she would tweet this out all of a sudden saying, I hate being who I am and I hate being like this. I can't do this anymore for a bit. I'm sorry. I don't know when I'll be back, but I'm fucking sorry I'm like this. I hope you're all well and please don't miss someone like me. Goodbye for now. What would immediately follow after is her deactivating her Twitter account and disabling all invites to her Discord server. Now look, reactions were mixed to this, but as you might have guessed, the majority of the VTuber community was celebrating, okay? Hitler was dead. This stain on VTubers' reputations, as well as her insufferable community, were finally gone. We won. On the other end of these celebrations, though, were some very heartbroken men, saying things like, I hope Elfinpsyop comes back. Yeah, she's mentally ill and likes to provoke people, but she's not so bad that she deserves to have something terrible happen to her. Or this guy saying, I really hope Elfinpsyop is okay. The racism towards her because of who she is unacceptable, and I genuinely hope she didn't hurt herself. No one deserves to be treated like that.
I mean, as much as she's done, I would not like her to die either.
It's like, bro, are we talking about the same person here? That's literally what.
And yeah, I know that that's like the most lukewarm take ever. Well, as someone who has had like literal family members do bad things to themselves, I'd much prefer people just don't die. Imagine that.
She did every single day. And to make matters worse, when she deactivated her account, this person would tweet this out, saying, another VTuber that I spent thousands of dollars making merch for just deactivated her socials without any warning whatsoever and isn't responding to my messages. Yes, of course, this person was referring to Elfinpsyop, right? This post got a lot of attention and it showed how much of a wreck she really was. Look, overall, it wasn't just embarrassing to be Elfin at this point. It was also humiliating to be one of her fans. I mean, these guys were hopeless. They were like, yeah, I know she's half Indian, but look, she's half white. I know we're meant to hate Muslims and minorities, but please, just make an exception for her. I'll fix her, wife her up, and prolong the white race. Please, let's just make her an exception. Now, as pathetic as this sounds, it wasn't a surprise. No one was ever interested in her for her political takes or her grift. It was all about her belly and the fact that she was a woman who was promiscuous. Politically speaking, though, they gave themselves some hope that, hey, at least she's half white, but even that illusion was about to be shattered. That's because 4chan would go above and beyond, as they always do, and would find irrefutable proof that she's not half Pakistani, she is full Pakistani. 4chan would go through her previous...
Okay, this is something I've never heard about. Let's see.
Names on Steam. And before using Elfinpsyop in 2021, she would be known as Absurd Comrade. Well, would you look at that? There's an Osu account that was created back in September 2020 that had the same exact name, and also used the profile picture of a character that Elfin liked a lot, Megumin from Konosuba. It also had the flag of Pakistan on the profile. This was a very big deal because this was region-based. Yes, it was based on your IP. This meant that as far back as 2020, Elfin was in Pakistan. She wasn't raised Slavic. She was raised in a country in which 99.99% of people are Muslim. And those Muslim immigrants going to the UK that she kept insulting every single day, well, she was literally one of them. I mean, seriously, the jokes just write themselves here. Like, how stupid is this?
And to be fair, many people who go into a more civilized country than theocratic shit are smart enough to renounce their religion. Not just Islam, but any other religion, to be honest.
At this point, it was official. She was nothing more than a self-hating grifter. Many such cases, but not many with this many followers and that much of a community. But just as people thought that she was finally defeated, that she was gone forever, she would literally come back just a few days later. And while she was expecting a bunch of hugs and kisses, she instead got the final blow to her short but very interesting career. So look, it was at this point that I started working on this video, but then I saw that she had tweeted on January 4th saying, "Hey, what's up, retards? I'm back. I went to a museum. I did a bunch of different things." She'd even post a selfie and a tank, the flag of Pakistan. Her post would get thousands of likes. Her community was so happy she was back. They were celebrating and saying, "Oh my God, I was worried about you. Oh my God, thank you so much for coming back. I missed you." So I was like, oh, I guess we're going to pretend like nothing happened. Okay. She'd say, "All the speculation about me leaving for weird reasons was all wrong, lol. I left because I had personal reasons." This is when I figured, okay, dude, whatever. Like, who cares? I'm just going to work on something else. And look, I want to make one thing clear. If Elfin continued as she always had operated and didn't change a single thing, then she could have very easily kept her career and her community. Again, they didn't care about her political ideology, okay? They just wanted a chance to get in a Discord call with her and have her goon. But what she would do 2 days later on January 6th, 2026, would be the dumbest thing I have ever seen anyone do on the internet ever, admitting to the distribution of child pornography. She'd make this tweet out of nowhere, saying,
Yeah, I saw this one. Why the fuck would you do this? Well, I suppose it explains it right here. If you're 11 and get exposed to 4gen/B, yeah, you're not gonna have a good time.
"Guys, I have a little announcement to make. So this may not come as much of a shock to some of you, but to most of the majority, I want to be truthful to all of you. When I first started VTubing, I was 17 years old. My hallmates living with me were older than me and would buy me all the alcohol. So I pretended to be a bit older online. I came to the UK to study a foundation year at 16, turning 17. They let you go early, especially if you have good grades. I'm 19 right now. The funniest part of all this is that I never told my age to anyone because I didn't want people to think it's weird someone underage is talking about stupid shit online. And the lie had gone for so long for me to tell the truth. But I'm a solid age now that I don't care. It's kind of why I suck at saying what age I learned what. Like, oh, I started going on 4chan when I was 14, but what I mean is like 11. I wanted to sound older somehow. I had to get a proper ID for 18 when I turned 18, and it was exhilarating buying my own beer. Ha 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 ha. Now here's the bombshell.
Yeah.
Also, just thought to put this out there because all the images that my haters have been leaking are all technically CP. XD. Good luck. So yeah, what seemed like a post of her just being edgy as always, saying, "Hey, I've always been edgy. I've always been on 4chan. I've thought the same thing since I was 14," ended up being one of the dumbest admissions of guilt I've ever seen in my life. Yes, she's been on 4chan since she was a minor. And yes, since then, she's been promiscuous. She's been sending explicit images of herself. She's been sexting. She distributed illegal material. And she's out here talking about it like, "Oh, gotcha." Someone would, of course, point this out, replying, "You realize taking the pictures and uploading them is you transmitting/distributing illegal CP as well, right? Just because it's yourself doesn't remove that." This is when Elfin would say, "Yeah, I know. But that shit was ages ago, and I sent it to a few people at different time intervals. I didn't know they would leak it because they're awful people. I hope they suffer." Smiley.
But what's that statute of limitations? I think she's still within those.
Face. This is, of course, in reference to the many nudes you can find online of her. So that means a lot of websites are hosting CP at the moment, if she's to be believed. At this point, she was fair game, okay? And this is when Johnzilla would make this Twitter thread, saying, "Most people think Elfinpsyop privated because she crashed out over her white supremacist friends finding out that she isn't white. But in actuality, it was because it was found out she groomed and sent weird and inappropriate things to minors on her Discord server." The first example would be how she made a community member who was 16 draw a doujin, right? Like some sort of a adult comic of her and a VTuber she looked up to. He would post it in her Discord and she would say, "Holy fucking shit, dude. Oh my god." She was very excited over it. She'd also send him some very explicit messages. Like, for example, he'd make artwork of her holding a gun on her stomach, and she'd say, "I love the weight of the gun on my stomach. It makes me very horny." And finally, there would be this screenshot in which she says, "When I grow up, I'm going to be like Masato and groom blah blah blah." And there'd even be a message with her saying, "Pedophile bros rising." So now her community had to wrestle with the fact that not only was she not a virgin, not only was she not white, but she was also someone who was practically a weirdo to minors. Go figure. What Johnzilla had posted was part of a wider expose that fully sought to expose Elfin and ruin her career that was posted on 4chan. In it, we can see even more images, like how, for example, she would let this minor into an NSFW 18+ channel, knowing that he's a minor. She doesn't care. Why would she? But look, I know at this point you're thinking she's completely irredeemable. No way she still has fans, right? Well, there's a reason I refer to her fans throughout this whole video as castrated men. They're not castrated like literally, like physically. They're castrated
Just mentally. Yeah,
in the sense that they
it is.
stand for nothing. Their life is meaningless in the sense that they're willing to throw anything away just for a chance at having a gooner girlfriend. Someone would reply to Johnzilla's thread saying, "What the f***? Based? Me next," in all caps. So guys,
I want to think that these are like just people trolling, but at this point I'm not sure.
I don't care. She could murder someone. She could, I don't know, carpet bomb an entire family neighborhood. I don't care. I don't care. Please, just...
Then again, the Unabomber Ted Kaczynski got like marriage letters to jail, so there are all kinds of people on the internet, because there were all kinds of people back then, and well, internet didn't exist back then.
Get in a call with me and Goon. Please. I've never had a woman touch me. Please. The second-hand embarrassment would continue for Elfin, though. She would post an AI-generated clip of Brody Fox, a content creator, with him saying slurs that he never said because it's AI. It would perform abysmally, and he would reply to her saying, "Why did you groom minors and distributed CP?" linking Johnzilla's thread, out-ratioing her by 5 times.
Oof.
Yeah. At this point, it was obvious.
And Mujin did as well.
Was becoming a lolcow. In fact, she had already become one by the time she deactivated the first time in December. Seeing how much the pressure was mounting and how many of her close friends or community members were telling her, "You're a dumbass for admitting this, you have to do something to contain this disaster," she would make this tweet in a desperate attempt to calm people down, saying, "I lied. I lied about my age and being younger at the time because there's images of me on the internet that I sent to people I trusted. Never full nudity, and they use AI to make revenge porn of it. They actively posted on all spaces I'm in, trying to get back at me for rejecting them. How do you counter that? How do you even stop it? So yeah, I lied to scare them." Yeah, right. And I'm French. What are we doing? Lying now? No
Mujin, please.
one believed that, especially with the proof that she so readily invited a 16-year-old into an NSFW channel on her Discord. It was over, and even Elfin had enough self-awareness to understand that. This is why shortly afterwards, a day later, on January 7th, 2026, she would yet again deactivate her Twitter, but this time wipe her YouTube channel and pretty much delete all socials. And the final thing she'd do is post an announcement on Discord, pretty much announcing her graduation and how she was ceasing all activities for good now. Here's what she had to say. "Hey, thank you for always being by my side. When I first started streaming, it was crazy to me to have so many people like me so much and want to talk to me. It felt exhilarating to have friends and a community. All the art I got, all the friendships I made, the 10-hour Among Us sessions, it was incredible. Probably the best time I've ever had in my life. I wouldn't trade this time for the world. It meant everything to me, and you guys meant everything to me. I'd like to thank you all for being amazing agents." That's what she called her community. "For believing in me even though I've always been a massive loser. For always sticking by my side, buying my merch, liking me at all. I wish I could give you more than this. I wish I could be more than what I am for you guys, and I'm so sorry for disappointing you like I do every time. But I just wanted to say I really love you guys. Despite all the controversies and dramas we've been through, it's been way too fun to want to forget all of this. I guess the Elfin saga had to end on a weird bittersweet note like this. Fucking chaotic. It definitely wasn't meant to last. I never believed in myself that much. Too much shit has happened, and I'm too small of a person to be able to handle it alone. I've lost. It doesn't matter anymore. Please don't be sad when I'm gone. You can always look back on memories. So corny. I'll be graduating for good. I wish I could have a stream rather than this Discord announcement, but this is the best I could bring myself to doing. I don't want to seem pathetic on stream, have to act nonchalant. Thank you for being with me. I love you all. It was really nice while it lasted. Heart emoji. And so this was it. This time it was actually official. It wasn't like the other time she deactivated and
What was it?
just came back a few days later. No, this was it. Elfinpsyop would be no more. And as you might have guessed, people celebrated again, but her community was gutted. And shortly afterwards, she would completely delete her Discord. "Elfinpsyop is a real one. I'm gonna miss my homie. I'm broken right now. She'll be with us always, in one form or another. Plenty more Indian women out there. Just go to India and bring..."
That is actually fucking brutal.
On home. Dude, look at this tweet. Just look. Oh my god. "When I die, Elfin will still be on my mind. I couldn't forget these past couple of years if I tried." Castrated beyond belief. You see, when people make fun of the male loneliness epidemic, don't show them statistics, okay? Don't make them think that it's just some guy who's sad that he's single. Show them these people mourning as if they lost a family member, when in fact it was just some grifter who was a Pakistani woman that pretended she was white. It is
She was still amusing though. Out of all things. Yeah.
so pathetic, man. Okay, this is probably my favorite tweet. Okay, this is... Your Pocky brothers will miss you, Elfinpsyop. There was a lot of funny memes.
And consider this username. Yeah.
Gets called brown once, fucking dies. Look at this guy. I wake up with the New Year's hangover, and one of the first things I learn is that Elfin is brown. First off, the fuck that I missed. Second off, is there a single one of you motherfuckers that's actually white? And just like that, the legendary meteoric rise of Elfin would end as quickly as it had started. Not with a bang, not with a whisper, but in a flaming hot pile of shitty diarrhea. But hey, as far as I know, the artist that had been ghosted by Elfin worked things out, and now you have an attorney involved. Meanwhile, Riri is still crying over the fact that she grifted, tried to be Elfin, and now her entire career is ruined. Hey man, all I gotta say is you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. But before I end the video, I do want to point out something that's very, very interesting. There's a conspiracy theory going around right now that the reason why Elfin left and deleted all socials is because she's being pursued by UK tax authorities. You see, when you would donate to her PayPal link, it would show an email. It would say payment to blank blank at hotmail.com. And this was clearly not her name. This was a man's name. This was her boyfriend that she had while she cheated on him with 6 other guys. However, you have to remember, Elfin was in the UK under a student visa, which doesn't allow her to work or earn any income. It seemed like she was funneling all her earnings to her boyfriend. So the theory is that maybe she broke up with her boyfriend and he found out that she cheated on him with 6 guys and she was doing all this dumb shit on the internet. So now he's getting the tax authorities after her so he can reclaim the money that she took from him while also getting her kicked out of the country. Definitely an interesting theory, but I do think it might be a bit of a reach. I guess only time will tell. I personally think that Elfin will try to pull a Gunpei because she's practically Gunpei but 10 times worse. Eventually she might recreate a new persona, a new character,
Yeah, I'm thinking she was
come back into streaming slowly. Will she carefully disguise herself? No, people will recognize her, but her community will be very happy that she's back because as you can see, there's a void in their hearts that still hasn't been filled, guys. I've made so many videos, throughout this career. Some of them involve disturbing topics, but I've never been so disturbed as I have been while researching for this video. I'm sure you also lost hope in humanity multiple times as you were watching this, so hey, you're welcome, and I hope you enjoy.
I'm jaded enough that this didn't even affect me. I didn't know most of the shit here, but...
Thank you so much for watching until the end. As a reminder, make sure to check out my Stacked page, okay? It's going to be filled to the brim with content. I'm going to be very active there. You'll find the link in the description and the pinned comment. Thank you so much again. I love you so much, platonically, and I'll see you in the next video, whenever that is. Mwah!
Interesting stuff. Mujin always makes wonderful things. I guess that's it for this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll have his video, the original one, of course, link below.